Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Matt Flood, frontman for the band Caskets, to the podcast. Caskets' new album, Reflections, is out today, August 11th, on Sharptone Records. Matt talks about the diversity of his friend group at school, teaching himself guitar, the weirdness of writing and releasing music during lockdowns, making the new album about the whole band, and more. It was great getting to hang out with Matt and learn about Caskets. You can find As the Story Grows on whatever your favorite podcast player of choice is, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. You can help financially support the podcast on Patreon. All Patreon members get early access to every episode of the podcast. I'm headed overseas in September, and I'm working on getting episodes edited and online early, so Patreon members will start to have podcasts way before they're released to the general public. Patreon.com/asthestorygrows, and you can find links in the show notes. Enjoy today's chat with Matt Flood from Caskets.
Today to set this straight, so hear what I've to say. A few moments of your precious time, you'll never hear from me again. No, I won't go, you've had your say, it's only your regret.
I am near Bradford in England at the minute, so quite far up north.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but the sun's shining for once, so it's not too bad at the minute, mate. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Has it been like cold and rainy up there, or just?
We had like a thunderstorm last night, but just because it's been so hot recently, so like we're not really used to this type of weather up here, so trying to make the most of it.
Yeah.
What about you, man? Whereabouts you based?
Washington, D.C.
Washington. Nice.
Yep.
I don't think we've ever been there yet.
Yeah, it's hot here.
I bet, man. I was speaking to someone yesterday. They're in like Texas, and they said like their aircon broke. They were just sweltering, dude. It was quite funny to watch.
Oh yeah, that sounds terrible.
It does indeed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Glad to have you here. Did you grow up in Bradford?
No. So I'm from a little town called Worksop, which is near Sheffield. So it's a bit further down south. It's about 2 hours away or something like that. And I moved it. My girlfriend lives up here, so I moved in with her.
Nice. What was growing up like?
Heavy, dude. Heavy.
Yeah.
My parents separated when I was young, so I was I got brought up by a single mother. She had 3 kids at the time. So heavy. It was a bit. We didn't have a lot, but we was fortunate to have each other. Do you know what I mean? I was a little bit of a bugger at school. I didn't finish my grades or anything like that. I didn't really finish school because, like I said, I was a bit of a bugger. I got into the wrong crowd. So music kind of pulled me out of that, I guess. I was just doing bad things, man, up until I was like 20, 21, and then I got into like being in bands and stuff like that. Got to college, so that kind of sorted me out.
Yeah. Where do you fall in line of your siblings?
Where do I fall in line? I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
So I've got 2 younger brothers and 1 older sister. Crazy time when we were a kid, man. She was evil to me, dude. She was evil. She knew she had the hierarchy. But we're good now.
It's funny. My sister, she's a year younger than I am, but you would swear she was older.
She won't like you saying that, dude.
No. Yeah. She would like it from the I had that older sibling vibe, but no, she does not want to hear she's older than me. As she points out all the time. What were you into as a kid? What type of stuff did you like doing?
So when I was really young, I was really into sports. I didn't really care about music whatsoever. Like, to be fair, I played a lot of football and stuff like that. Then one of my mum's old partners played guitar, and he was like in a band. My mum sings and stuff as well, but I didn't really get into it until like my late teens. But yeah, I was a sports kid, dude. I was just always out playing football or being on the wrong side of the law, let's say. But yeah, man. And then like I got into music when I was like 14 or so. I like kind of fell out of love with sports and got into music, started playing guitar and stuff like that. And now here we are.
Nice. What was there a moment that made you fall out of love with sports, or just aging? Like you just discover music and it's like that's the thing. Because I did like martial arts, and then I discovered punk rock and going to see live music, and I was like, fuck it, that's what I want to do all my time now. Like I don't want to do martial arts anymore.
I knew every kid that loves football, like, you know, I want to grow up and be a footballer and this and that and blah blah. And I got to like 12, 13, I'm like, this is not gonna happen. Like definitely not. I'm not rubbish at football, but I'm not amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then like I said, it kind of relates to the group of friends I used to hang around with. I was never like subjected to like one group of friends, if you know what I mean. I was always like, I had friends that were metalheads and emos and goths and chavs, as we call them in England, and stuff like that. So the more time I spent around a certain type of group, the more time I put into doing different kinds of stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 13, 14, I found like a really shit old classical guitar in my mum's attic, and it had like it had 3 strings. And it was just as "Wake Me Up When September Ends" came out, and I can remember finding it, and I was sat on the floor in my bedroom for hours with these 3 strings, trying to find that first thing, like do 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 do. And after about 2 hours, I found it on my own with my own ear, and I like really enjoyed it. So it kind of got into it from there, and it rose and rose. I started doing acoustic music when I was younger. I didn't really get into a band until I was like 20, something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was in like 2 bands before Caskets, but they like didn't really do anything, fizzled out. And then again, I stopped doing music altogether for like 5 years, 6 years, and then fell in on this band. And now here we are.
Nice.
Madness.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the scene like when you were in like secondary school and just discovering music? Was there a local scene to dive into and shows, or was it just like just friends listening to CDs? Yeah,
there's not really. So I used to live like in a town, and it was like there's like Sheffield there, Nottingham there, you know, Birmingham's not far away. So there's some big cities near me, but like going from where I live to going to Birmingham would be like, or going to Sheffield would be like, at that age, going to a completely different world. Do you know what I mean? So at my school and all that, there was a massive music scene. It was like the emo stage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I never like used to go to any gigs or anything like that. So I was quite secluded from that. But yeah, man, like my dad loves like Oasis and a lot of like Britpop and stuff like that. So I grew up listening to that. Also like a lot of the Eagles, early like folk music and stuff like that. And then obviously like Green Day and Blink, and that's what kind of really got me into music properly. But yeah, if you walked around my school on dinner break, you'd either see loads of kids wearing black with black hair, or the opposite, loads of kids in like tracksuits and listening to fucking drum and bass and 50 Cent and stuff like that. So there was a big like wedge. There was no in between or anything like that. So yeah, it was quite a crazy time, to be fair.
Yeah. At what point in there you had this guitar? At what point did you figure out you could sing?
Oh, dude, that's another. So do you know in America, like when you were at school, when you were a kid, did you have assembly classes?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So they get like everyone to sit in a big hall and fucking sing hymns and all that crap. So I can remember I used to be sat there singing hymns, and I used to think like, not that I sound better or than anyone else, but I remember I used to like sing differently than everyone else. Everyone else would be around me like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd try to like bend notes, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but yeah, like I said, my mum's a singer. My sister sings as well. So I never really. Yeah, in fact, I didn't actually sing in front of anyone, not one person, until I was about 15, 16.
Yeah.
So I never really knew if I was any good or not. But I loved doing it. So I can remember one day I went to a jam night in a pub across the road from me, and I played "Time of Your Life," I think, by Green Day. And then everyone was like, "That's really good. You sound really good." So I just thought, in my head, I thought, well, if I am good at this, like, and I'm really not that good at anything else, I thought I might as well try and pursue this. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I flogged off all the sports and stuff like that. I was gonna go to college and do like business studies and stuff like that, and I didn't. I was fuck it. I'll go do music studies instead. So I did that for like 5 years. Complete waste of time. Not gonna lie, mate, it was. But yeah, from that, I met a lot of friends that I still keep in touch with today. And if it wasn't for going through that I wouldn't be in this band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I used to when I was a kid, I used to put like fucking Busted on and Green Day and stuff like that, and just play air guitar and just pretend to sing like that. And then my mum heard me one day, and then she was like, "You should go to that jam night next door and see if you enjoy it." And I did. But I never had the thought of like, oh, I can sing or anything like that. It just slowly entangled its way into my life, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. How did Caskets get started?
Oh God. So when we started, it was called Captives.
Yeah.
So like I said, I was in a band before years ago, and the band was called Silhouettes, and we supported a band called Young Guns in Leeds, and Chris and Benji came to watch that show. And that's how I met them. And then I didn't see anything from them or anything for like a year or so. That band fizzled out. And then they just started a band called Fault Lines. They just done their EP, brought their first single out. Everything looked really cool. And then the singer just decided to leave. For God knows for what reason, because they were doing really well. So then, yeah, Chris asked me to try out, audition for the band, and I did, and I got in. And then we thought there's no point in carrying on a band that have just started. They've just released a song, and now all of a sudden there's a different vocalist. Yeah. So we thought we'd just completely start afresh. And then, we said we'd start afresh, but there was still like Chris, Benji, and Lee were from the old Fault Lines band. And then eventually, after a while, after Captives got going, Lee left, and that's why we got Craig in. But yeah, man, we've been a band for like nearly 5 years now, but I don't say it's 5 years because I don't count COVID. Yeah. So, we wrote an album through COVID, but that's it. Like, we didn't do anything else. So to me, this band's still not even 3 years old. I don't care what anyone says. But yeah, like we got going, we got some traction, and then we got cease and desist from a band called Captives in Australia. And that was while we was on the shoot of the Lost in Echoes music video.
Oh man.
Yeah. Very stressful day, dude. So that was awful, dude. Like, we got all our stuff got taken down online. Our Instagram was going to get taken off. Our Spotify went. Everything went. We thought, well, if we don't get something done, we were going to fight it in court, but it would have taken like over a year. Oh yeah. And we'd have had to go away for a year. So like no one would have been asked about us when we come back after a year. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we just bit the bullet and decided to change the name for Caskets, which was on the list for when we first started the band. And yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster, but I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah. You talk about COVID. At what point, when COVID lockdowns happened, were you guys already in talks with Sharptone, or did that happen during lockdown?
I think my brain's rubbish, dude. Like, I know that we signed the contract over through COVID. Yeah. I think we just started speaking. Well, they came to see a show we did, like it was one of our first ever shows. Mm-hmm. I was really annoyed that quite a few industry people came to it because we weren't ready for that. Do you know what I mean? We weren't ready for that. So they came to that show, and I think Chris kept in touch with someone from Sharptone since then. And then this must have been like a year and a half later when COVID and all that started. So yeah, the talks just like grew and grew as time went on, and we signed the contract while COVID was happening.
Whoa!
you talked about writing. Was it Lost Souls while COVID was happening? What was that process like in lockdown? Where you're, I mean, yeah,
nightmare. So we had everything was already ready to go into a studio and record it just about. So because of COVID, you know, I don't know if it was the same in America, but in England, like we got locked down. And then they said, oh, you can go and do what you want for 2 weeks. And then we're going to lock you down again. And then, oh, you can go and do what you want for 3 weeks. And then we're going to lock you down again. So in those 2 week, 3 week periods, that's when we went into a shed in Chris's back garden to record the album. Yeah. But the shed was kitted out. It was all good. Yeah. We got Dan Weller down. So we had everything we needed it in. It was basically like Marshall Studios, but surrounded with wooden panels and a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was stressful, man. Like it was very stressful because 1 minute, like we've got 2 weeks, you know, we've got 2 weeks to get so and so done, and then we're getting locked down early, so now we're all gonna have to fucking go home again and sort something else out. So it was stressful, dude. But it was quite a unique experience for a band to record their debut album like that. I bet there's not many bands that have like done that type of thing. But COVID was a fucking nightmare, mate. It was just a nightmare. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? We got through it now. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, in America, every state had their own rules. So it's like
that's weird.
Where I lived, it was like everything is super strict and locked down, and everybody's wearing masks and but like you go somewhere else, people are like, COVID's not fucking real.
Yeah.
So you know,
we had pockets of places like that in England. It's mainly London as a whole. They had completely different rules. Like no one wore a mask or anything.
Yeah. Well, when last April, I went to London, and you had to still wear masks in the plane in the airports here in the States. And then I got to London and no one's wearing masks, and I was like, no, not cool with this yet.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I read that there's places in England talking about getting the masks back or something like that. I have noticed since COVID though, there are a lot more people like on public transport and all that will always wear a mask now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely got to a few people.
Yeah.
It's in their head, mate. It's in their head.
Yeah, for sure. What's the relationship with Sharptone been like? I mean, they're a label that I feel like post-COVID has really like popped off and have a ton of bands across genres and like are just doing a great job.
They're killing it. They've been... Sharptone is literally. I feel like this is quite something that probably a lot of musicians say, but like Sharptone is really like a family orient. Oh, I can't say the word. Family orient. Or you know what I'm trying to say.
Oriented.
There we go.
Yeah.
Environment. Tongues twisting, dude. Yeah, man. Like they make sure we're looked after in every way. Do you know what I mean? And the support they've shown us since we signed has been beyond insane. Like if you'd have told me 5 years ago that this band would still be going after 5 years, and that we're signed to one of the most quickest rising record labels in the world, never mind in this specific part of the industry, but I'd have told you to shut up and slap door in your face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, they're amazing. Like whenever they can, they come out to shows and all that. They come and chill. They always make sure we're looked after in every way, man. You couldn't ask for better people on a label.
I don't wanna be alone in a spell that you cast, and I can't help but love the misery you feel in me. Tell me how you made it so hypnotizing, and why you made me not want to go. I sacrifice, I'll pay the price. Let me hear it, I won't shy away, 'cause I believe you'll free me, break your spell and tie me from the chain.
The new record's called Reflections, coming out almost 2 years from the debut full length.
Weird, right? Almost 2 years to the day. I noticed that the other week.
Yeah. You're one of the few bands, I guess, with a few bands that now has like 2 post-COVID releases, I guess, like since you were kind of on the end of lockdowns and everything with the debut. How different was the process for this record opposed to the other one as far as writing? I know like lyrically there was a lot more contribution from the other members.
Yeah. It was, the whole process in general was way different than the first album. I mean, on this album, we actually got to go into a studio. Do you know what I mean? Well, we did in the first one, but that was just to do the drums. But we managed to get into a studio and get it all done properly this time, which was a dope experience, because before this album, I'd never been in like a proper studio and to record, you know, music to release to the world. Never done it properly like that. So the experience was insane. There was at one point I had to spend so we went in with some demos and some of them like really weren't up to scratch. So I had to go away and I spent like 2 weeks completely on my own in a hotel room, just like writing lyrics down. Like I had to go in some right weird places, dude, to get that done. So that was good for me to go through, because I feel like I'm probably going to have to do that sort of thing again. Because I feel like I do my best writing when I'm on my own, like lyric writing. So that was a horrible experience to go through, but I'm glad I did go through it, because hopefully it won't be nowhere near as bad next time. But yeah, man, we as a whole, like, we wanted the album to be more about everyone in the band and not just about me and my past. So that's why we call it Reflections, because each song reflects upon a part of one of our pasts, or a certain situation that we've gone through. So that's why it's called Reflecting, because it's reflecting upon a different thing every song, kind of thing. So yeah, just scoping it out and having the boys come in with more ideas, melody wise, with the vocals and the lyrics and stuff like that was refreshing, because I felt like I wasn't being bogged down with it. And there's only so many sad songs you can write about yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was really good. We was really worried beforehand, before we went into the studio, because this time around we've been touring so much over the last year and a half. Whereas we weren't when we wrote the first album. We had loads less time to get stuff done. So we was really, really against the clock on this one, and that was always in the back of our minds. And when something's in the back of my mind, it never goes away. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just always there, just niggling away at me. So yeah, that working to a really strict time frame was very different, and had me in hot sweats many times. But it was just more fun, dude, this time. Like being able to sit down with Dan, because we went to his studio, and he's got this incredible piano, and I'm obsessed with playing piano. So it was just nice to go in and not have to like, right, sit down, do this. Like sit down and faff about on the piano, try and think of cool like melody parts for the songs and stuff like that. So it was just a much more of a fun experience for me personally than it was doing the first album. And I feel like it shows in the music. I feel like we've added a lot more layers. Still like that Casket sound, but it's added a lot more layers onto the new album, which I hope people like. Yeah.
Did having that time touring and on the road change the way you approached writing, and kind of things you knew like worked better from the last record than things that didn't work that you wanted to capture on the album? Or does the album process just like not play into the live show at all? Like you just want to write the best record possible, and what translates live?
Yeah and no. I mean, we always want, when we do our set lists and stuff like that for playing live, we always want to, if we're not the headline band, which we haven't been mainly, we'll just want to make sure that the set is full of like upbeat bangers. If not all of our singles upbeat songs, you know what I mean? Like there's no worse than doing a half an hour set and 15 minutes into it, I pull the acoustic guitar out after a stomping banger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like with both albums, there's a few like not really sad songs, but different songs in comparison to the rest of the songs on the album. And I think that's mainly me that pushes that, because I'm a little emo boy. Do you know what I mean? Like I love writing little sad songs and stuff like that. And I feel like I always wanted to show that the band wasn't just a one-trick pony. Yeah. Like we don't just write, ass to the floor, stompy tunes. Like we can write really metal songs, really poppy songs, really soft songs. Yeah. And I always want that to show in all of our albums. Unless we're doing like a drum and bass album or something. But I don't feel like I don't feel like there's any connection between what we do for the album and what we do live. We just want to make sure that whatever we play live are songs that we really, really enjoy playing, and we know that will come across well live.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's literally it. I mean, I can't think of any like things that I did on the first album that I didn't like doing. What annoys me most is like when an album's done, I'll go back and listen to it and listen to it and listen to it and listen to it. And every single time I listen to it, I'll find something else. I'll be like, oh, I could have done that there.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have added that in there and it made it sound loads better. So that's the most annoying thing about going back to listening to your albums. And I feel like I noted that for this album. Like I said, like when I was in the hotel room doing the lyrics, I knew that, like, right, if I write these lyrics, go through it once or twice and then take it to the boys, even if it's good enough, that's great. But if I do it and then just keep going back and going back and going back and back and back and back, even if I find stuff I don't want to take out, I might find stuff I want to put in and stuff like that. So that's the main thing that I took from the first album, which is weird saying that we had a very strict time frame for this album, because I just spent hours on my own, like not in working hours, just like what can make this better. Because I also always like I need to hear other people tell me that this sounds good or okay for me to believe that it sounds good and okay or really good. Or if I think this is crap, and then someone tells me no, this is really good, then I know that I've got to because I've got to trust what I've made, and if I can build on it and build on it and build on it, that will make it better and better. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny though. I asked that question. And I was like, I saw Currents a few weeks back, and it's like all the bands on that tour, none of them had like live amps. Everything's on the computer now, and it's like, if you do it in studio, you could just bring it on the computer. And technology is so much different from
I guess
young, and like you're not bringing half stacks everywhere with you.
Yeah, like me being the vocalist, dude. Like I play guitar, I play instruments and stuff like that, but not in the band. And I think the boys would rather keep me away from their equipment and stuff like that, which I don't blame them because I break everything. But yeah, we don't use like cabs or anything like that. We use like when we first started, dude, it was insane. It was like from the floor, like it was like 5 foot tall or something. I don't know what was in it, like not a clue. But over the last 5 years, it's been condensed down into like this little rack like that big now. So it's easily portable. But they don't let me touch any of their instruments or anything like that. James don't even let me sit on his drum kit. I don't blame him.
That's great. Who did the album artwork for you guys?
Which one?
For
which album? For Reflections. So Benji and Chris worked with some artists that obviously aren't in the band. This is my brain being crap, but I can't tell you what his name is right now.
Okay.
Because I'd have to look through my emails. But yeah, man, like we were working, Benji was working with him through it for like, it's got to be at least the last 6 months or so. And he basically captured everything we wanted, especially for the album front cover. Mm-hmm. I was quite worried at the start because it's so different from the artwork of the first album. And I didn't want it to be like, this seems like visually, this looks like a completely different band now, like with their artwork and stuff. But I think it reflects well against the sound of the album. I think that look works well with the mode of most of the songs and stuff like that. So again, me in the back of my head just worrying about it until someone else tells me, no, dude, this is good. Like this works. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think we tried to work with a few artists and I can't remember. I'm going to try and find his name. But yeah, it took a while, a lot of to and fro in until we got to like the little nitty bits. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to change that lighting just a little bit, maybe change that just a little bit. So we did that for like the last month or so, and now it's all ready to go, man. So yeah, I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Did you guys have like a direction you wanted to give, or just like general vibes of the record? And then
yeah, it was just from the general vibes, really. I mean, obviously we'll always want to stay with the yellow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like always, no matter what palette the album is, there'll always be some sort of yellow in there. And the fact that the color, like, I'm a little nerd with stuff like this. I love the fact that the yellow we use in the album artwork for this album is slightly more dimmed down and darker than the yellow used on the first album. So to me, it's like a visual representation of where the sound has changed, but it's not changed dramatically. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that comes across well. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm also excited. We changed up the sleeve in the vinyl, the little sleeve that comes out with all the words and stuff. We've changed that up a little bit as well. So I'm excited for people to see that.
Nice. There are 4 singles currently out. How's the response been to the song so far?
Really good. I think. I hope. It seems to be going really well. Yeah, man. I'm really happy with it. Yeah. I just worry about nothing, I think. But yeah, we're super excited. We've been doing some video shoots and stuff as well. So we've got some announcements coming out soon. Yeah, man, I'm really happy. I feel like when we released By the Sound, that was a worrying release because that was quite a lot more popular than any of our other stuff we've done before. But that went down really well. I was really happy about that. But anyone that doesn't know as well, in that music video By the Sounds, I'm wearing a cast on my leg all the way through that video. And Ollie, the videographer, worked really hard to make sure that was never seen. Oh no. Yeah, man, I ruined my ankle like a week before the shoot. Yeah, it was bad. I still feel it now. But yeah, I can't remember what you asked me now. Sorry.
No, just response to the songs, the singles.
Yeah, they've been dope, man. Like they've been dope. Our fan base is absolutely insane. Like that's what made me realize that I shouldn't have anything to worry about anymore. Because I was like, all our fans, like, a lot of them will be like into like metalcore and post-hardcore and stuff like that, and I'm like, this song's like fucking McFly or something. Do you know what I mean? So I was worried about it, but it went down really well, man. And then we released More Than Misery with Tell Smith like a month ago now, and that's gone down super well. So I just want to make sure that when we play America, we get him on stage with us so he can do it with us live. That'll be dope.
Yeah. There's always going to be people who are like dicks if something's too soft, but like I feel like generally, people with Spotify and the ease of getting music, people are open to more music than they've ever been and are willing to go with bands on a journey.
You can't please everyone either. Do you know what I mean? Like you could write the most amazing music anyone has ever heard in their lives, and there'll still always be some little tit out there who just wants to say shit just for clout. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? You just don't listen to those type of people. Yeah. stay in your own lane and get on with it. Yeah.
Album's out August 11th. What's the rest of this year look like for you guys? This year's quick coming to a close.
Oh my God, we're on it this year, dude. Like we go to Australia, play some shows with Wind Waker in like 3 weeks, I think. And then we fly straight over to America from there for 6 weeks for the anniversary tour with my brain, bless the fall.
Oh, nice.
And then after that, I think the plan is to probably try and get another headline run going, but nothing's locked in yet. So I guess we'll see.
Nice.
I do want to play more shows. Like I just want to play as many shows as I possibly can this year because, like I said, we never got to tour the Lost Souls album like at all. Basically, we did 2 headline shows and that was it. So So it'd be nice to get a headline run, even if it's just UK Europe, like for the time being, just so we can go out and play the songs, dude. Like I want to play like the album in its entirety as a headline set. Yeah, which is cool. It'd be cool. I'm gonna regret it probably after about show 4 when I wake up like. But can't wait. So hopefully we can get some more headline shows by end of the year. Light me up and watch me go round and round. Now I'm control. You're gonna need to pray. Maybe you just can't be saved. Light me up, watch me go. Take what's mine and not dethroned. All because of you I fail. Go and ruin someone, but I've got time. There's something
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show you. As the story grows, as the story grows. You can create something lasting and great, something passionate and real. And I'll bring in my own good feelings, I'll sing it with meaning. Let's just attack it and never look back. It's wild and fantastic. All together at full power, we're so much better. What's that word?